I'm Adlai Stein, and I'm not even supposed to be here today. I grew up, I'm the first generation American. Both my parents were immigrants, and when they came over with their parents, it was going to school. You were expected to go to school, you were expected to go to college, you were expected, especially being Jewish, I was expected to be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, anything. But what I did, my grandmother, big influence on me, but she came, they came over and they were all about our education. My grandfather worked with his hands. He worked until he was 93. He was still doing odd jobs, and I get a lot of that influence from him, even though I wasn't around him as often as I would have liked to have been. So now I've gone from that to, dirty hands were not, what you had. You sat at a desk, you were expected to do this. In society growing up in the 80s, we were going away from shop classes, we were going away from home ec, we were going away from mechanic jobs. They were preparing us to sit and work on computers and flying cars and robots and all of those things. I still want my flying car. I was promised a flying car. But we were working towards that technology as I was growing up. We were supposed to be the future and do less with our hands, and everything else was going to be done by robots. I discovered working with my hands in a medieval group. I was not great in school. I pretty much sucked at it. But I loved to read. I loved history. I loved Tolkien. I loved Conan. I loved all the sword and sorcery stories. And as a young adult, I joined a medieval reenactment group, and I met a blacksmith there. And I learned, I was kind of a kick in the head. I learned how to use my hands. I hadn't really done that. I hadn't been able, and it was like, wow, what's this? It was a whole new experience. 30 years later, I'm still doing it. It was amazing. And it started as a hobby. Other things going on through my life, I wasn't able to do that. I went through a divorce, and I had been doing blacksmithing, like I said, as a hobby, and I got a job at a law firm. And talk about drudgery, sitting at a desk every single day, and I felt sick to my stomach. I hated it every day. It was good work at the beginning, but it wasn't where I was at. I would come to the Idea Foundry after work, and I was exhausted, and I didn't want to go anywhere. I wanted to go home and sit on the couch. And I started blacksmithing, or I started teaching. And for the next 3 to 4 hours, I felt amazing. All of a sudden, I was awake, I was alive. It's like, how do I do this? This is what I need to do. And being one of those first members at the Idea Foundry 10 years ago, that was my inlet to being able to leave that job and work with people and teach people to do what I love to do. So when we're talking about expectations and things like that, so we've got this little part of that is the island of misfit toys. I have a son who is severely autistic. So again, more expectations, more responsibility, things that I'm not able to go do what I need to do because I've got other things expected of me, and that's not a bad thing. So having a child with disabilities allowed me to understand and work with people who wouldn't be able to blacksmith, wouldn't be able to do what I do without that backup, without somebody else being there to be able to show them to do that. And, so some more of, whoops, too far. Some of, wrong direction. How do I go? I'm confused. Anyway, so, as far as expectations and being Jewish, also, in doing what I do, I was at a kosher barbecue. And I had my stuff out, and people kept walking up and saying, Orthodox Jews and Jewish people are like, Jews do this? You work with your hands? You make that. This is really amazing. This is awesome. But, we're expected to be learned people. And, you do this? And it hit me. I was like, huh? And I was at a gun show with some of my knives. And kind of came to the same thing but the opposite is, Jews do this? Well, there's nothing wrong with being Jewish, that's cool. It's like, all right, but if you say so. And it was weird, because it says expectations, like, from both sides. I'm like, nobody accepts that you can work with your hands, because society doesn't expect it, no matter who you are or where you're from. This is one of my favorite quotes, is everybody says, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. They lie. They lie, they lie, they lie. I have never worked harder for less money in my entire life. The difference is I love it. Every day I go in to the shop, play with fire, hit shit with a hammer. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. To be creative, from sitting at that desk job, to do what you love, to work with people, to teach people how to do what I love, to be able to reach out and work with folks who would never be able to do this, who, again, expectations. And I'm amazed that I'm here. It's it. It grew out, started our own business, got even bigger. We're doing amazing stuff. I am supposed to be here today.
Wow. Yeah.